valuing differences in people, their trains of thought, and their ways of life, right? So particularly in Jamaica, our national motto is out of many, one people, or ota many, one people, as we'd say in Patois. And as I firmly believe this to be true, I've lived my life by this motto, that out of many, one people came, right? We are one human race, right? So, however, in the modern tech industry, that motto is far from reality. Recently, I learned from Forbes that Black people comprise 13% of the national workforce, but only 4% of Silicon Valley. So when I say Silicon Valley, think the FANGs. It's Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. Those are the companies that I'm really talking about here. Furthermore, of that 4%, only a small fraction of those actually hold technical roles. So those are pretty dismal numbers looking at the entire population of the country and the workforce in tech, right? 4%. And like I said, of that 4%, only a small fraction hold actual technical roles at those FANG companies, right? Even worse, a recent study conducted by CNBC revealed that while Black talent is still extremely underrepresented in the industry, it's the worst for women. Women account for 26.7% of the tech workforce in the United States, but Black women specifically account for 1.7% of that total. So if you look at these numbers, right, women comprise 26.7% of the tech workforce nationally, but Black women account for 1.7% of that figure. So this really got me thinking, right? With so many different tech products that are being made and released into the market, is it safe to say that major tech companies have relied mostly on white and Asian males to build products that we all use and consume on a daily basis? I think the answer is yes. But I want to take a moment to pause right here and ask the audience to look at this group of applications on the screen. And you got Facebook, YouTube, Skype, Pinterest, Behance, Etsy, GitHub, the list goes on and on. Apple, Android, Microsoft, Amazon, Line. Can anyone chime in and tell me which one of these is a Black-owned company? Anybody want to take a stab at it?
I'm just gonna say none.
That's correct. That's correct. And so, unfortunately, due to historic patterns of occupational segregation in technology and biased hiring practices, the aforementioned model excludes minority voices, right? Which in turn leaves out hundreds of millions of people. So I had this question that, are you assimilating without knowing, right? The numbers don't lie. That minority voices aren't at these companies, right? So beyond Facebook, Apple, Netflix, and Google, I just wanted to give you an idea of the large scope of tech companies that are out there beyond those top 5, and what the numbers look like that we just gone over for people of color and women working at these companies. However, we all use these apps on a daily basis. So the question is, are you assimilating without knowing? Because if you're not at the table designing these products, but you're using them, that's the question. So we can tackle that at the end of the presentation, but this is why inclusive design means so much to me and our company, right? So as I was saying, because of the historic patterns of occupational segregation and the biased hiring practices, hundreds of millions of people are affected by this. And sometimes you might not even know it. I hope I just brought that to your attention. So today I'm here to talk to you about our company, PB&Jane, and how we solve this problem by providing women and Black, Indigenous people of color an opportunity in tech. All right. So in the spring of 2022, CNBC reported that 80% of jobs are filled through networking. So if 80% of jobs are being filled through network connections, think about your network. Do most of the people in your network look like you? What about your colleagues at your company? Do their network connections look like them? So if 70% of tech workers are white and their networks all look like them, it stands to reason the candidates being referred to top tech jobs are mostly white, probably. So the idea here is if women and people of color aren't in the boardroom, they're not managers or directors at companies, or they're not just team members. It makes it more difficult for other people of color and women trying to get into these roles to have someone, a like person to reach out to, if that makes sense. So we talked about this the other day, and I said that your network equals your net worth, and told this group, if you were here on Tuesday, that your network will determine, your net worth over your lifetime. And I just wanted to double down on this for anybody that missed this on Tuesday, how that kind of works, right? So I'll briefly go over this, but if you think about any enterprise corporation or even a small business like mine, what happens is the company recognizes they have a need, right? Then a job is created. And that job is created by a hiring manager, the person who is going to hire this person, right? So the second thing that happens is it's posted internally. The friends and the family of the people that work at the company or the friends and family of the hiring manager are going to be the first people that know about this job, right? Also, employees that already work at the company are going to be the first people to know about this job, and they're much closer to the person who created the job, right? So if they're in their network, this person is going to get the job before any of the other things I'm about to talk about. So if it doesn't happen here, the next thing the company does is go to a recruiting firm. So think about like a Creative Circle or Tech Systems, right? They are going to get on the job of finding this resource that this hiring manager is looking for. If the first thing they do is look into their friends and family to see if there's someone that they know that could do this, because at these recruiting firms, it's usually incentive based. They get paid a good portion of money to find friends and family that can fill these roles and get it to the job creator. If they can't find that person, then they put it out on LinkedIn and Indeed. And this is where the average person will see a job posting on a job posting site. But remember, it's already gone through these two rounds. And there can be candidates that come from this that just haven't been hired yet. The job creator is waiting for a bigger pool of people. So they're okay with this LinkedIn post because they know they're going to get more people to apply to the role. Okay. Now, if you're getting on the train at this point and you have no connection to the job creator, look how far you are in the process. You're steps away. But before you can even meet this person, you have to go through that initial phone screen with someone from HR. If you get past the first interview, then you have a second interview with someone from the company that probably works for the job creator. And then if you get past that interview, you'll probably finally meet the job creator. So most people find themselves here, whereas if they were here, friends and family of someone that worked at this company, or friends and family of someone that worked at this company, you'd be much closer to the job creator. So this is just a visual way of showing you that your network is your net worth because you're closer to opportunities. It's not that you can't make it happen from here. And if you are getting frustrated at this point, just understand that this is why, because it's basically the system of how most organizations go about hiring folks. Okay. So back to the presentation. But anyways, looking at my my own experiences in tech, usually being the only person of color in the room, I believe it. I totally believe that tech looks the way it does because of the networks, and most people, birds of a feather flock together. You hear things like that. But I looking back at my own experiences and usually being the only person of color in the room, yeah, I truly believe it. So my partner, the other half of PB&J, is a woman, and her experiences are the same in tech. Together, we decided to look deeper into the issue, and we found a common problem, okay? It's called the experience paradox, okay? So this is a phenomenon that occurs when you have no work experience in a particular field, but the entry-level jobs require you to have a year or two of experience to be considered, right? Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever wondered why? Well, Jobs for the Future reported that 45% of Blacks said they lack the connections they need to start a tech career, citing accessibility to resources as a major issue. So we went over this earlier in the presentation, where I was talking about if women and people of color aren't in the boardroom, like at the C-suite level, if they're not at the manager level and they're not team members, it makes it harder for folks who are at the experience paradox to get an opportunity. And so these numbers just basically prove that without that network, right, where people can pull you up, it's more difficult to get into tech, right? So how are we solving this? At PB&J, we're tackling this issue by implementing inclusive design processes into everything that we do, right? We leverage our network and connections made over the past decade to provide qualified women, Black and Indigenous people of color an opportunity to work in tech on awesome projects. So as you can see here, our ethos is we represent both sides of the bread, humans and computers. And for more than 10 years, we have sandwiched users and technology to create cutting edge experiences for people. We design for everyone. And so, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, inclusive design, thinking about making the products and websites and apps that we use, right, more inclusive for everyone, and not just the folks who happen to have the jobs and who happen to be in those design rooms, if that makes sense, right? So instead of, complaining about not having a seat at the table, just kind of building our own and bringing the food that we do get, we share it with those who aren't able to even get in the room to put a table up, if that makes sense. All right. So our company is in a unique position. We started 10 years ago as a boutique creative design agency, just working on ad hoc projects here and there. But over the last 6 months, the business has grown significantly, and we're now evolving into a space where we focus solely on large enterprise clients. And in doing so, we will be hiring for several roles in Q2. Moreover, we have garnered the attention of a few closely trusted CEOs and vice presidents from Fortune 100 and 500 companies and multi-million-dollar startups. So we are working diligently on more partnerships and opportunities for the firm, but these are the main things that we focus on doing for our clients. And so how do we do this? our main strategy for inclusive design, I talked about this briefly the other night, was the user-centered design process. But here, this is a design thinking model of that. They're interchangeable to most respects. But basically, the process is you start with research. You get to understand the users, surveys, and focus groups. Then we clearly articulate the problem, figure out what we're trying to solve. There's many different methods you can use in this phase of the process. Affinity diagramming is one of them. Then we move over to ideation, where we storyboard out different ideas, brainstorm up all the possible solutions we could possibly think of, and then we start prototyping something. After we prototype it, we test it, we release the product, and then we also do the performance media marketing. That's another side of our business, advertising and digital ads and that kind of stuff. Okay. So really, tech is complicated, and the inner workings of tech is complicated. But we're on a mission to help solve the I want to choose my words carefully here, but make more inclusive teams, make more inclusive products, and give opportunities to those. There's I think it's the United Way that says it, that it's a hand up and not a handout, right? So connecting with folks like yourselves who are looking to get into tech and work on cool things, and not get caught in the experience paradox, PB&J would be a good place to come and work on some cool stuff. So, like I said, my name is Dorsh. If you want to reach out to me, I'll put my email address in the chat, and you can ping me at PB&Jane. You can also find us on the web at pbandjane.com. You can kind of see what we're all about. But it's an inclusive design agency. Empathy onto every bite, just these kinds of things. So if you want to check us out, like I said, we'll be looking to hire some folks in Q2. UX designers. So if you're a design heavy kind of person, definitely looking for you. Yes, women and everyone is, obviously it's not exclusive, because that's not inclusive. All we're saying is that we understand, obviously from the presentation, that the numbers are what they are, and we're just here to try and provide opportunities that aren't being provided historically, right? So thank you so much for your time today. I'm open for any questions that you guys might have, and even general questions. If it's not about PB&Jane, just inclusive design or career advice or anything like that, I'm free to answer those questions for you.
Go ahead, Monique.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I really like the theme around PB&J that you were speaking of. I just had like a two-part question. First part is, how does like PB&J use, I'm thankful for programs like Be Nimble that give us contact like with our, the beginnings of our networking, because I'm very new to tech. I'm coming from an educational background, education administrator. Okay. So one of the things that I'm asking, how does PB&J use those transferable skills from our previous careers, you know, when we are like, when we have completed a certificate program or whatever our path may be, but does PB&Jane look at those previous experiences that we had in the other fields?
Yes, and Monique, I'll be straight up with you. My first career, my first degree was in music, and I played music for years. I was in bands, I toured, I sang, I still do music now. But I bring those skills in that creativity and all of that into the work that I do now. I I I went to a boot camp myself, right? So I feel like I see myself in you guys. I know exactly where you're coming from, switching a career, but you know, still trying to bring some of who you were into this new path and this new avenue that you're carving out for yourself.
Mhm.
So long story, yes, we absolutely take that into account in looking at candidates. And I'll be even more honest with you. This program that you're in right now, you're really gonna want to your portfolio piece, and probably your best one. I don't know how many you guys are doing, but you'll really want to focus on telling the story of how your time teaching uh, molded the designer you are now, or the
Mhm.
developer you are, right? How
Yeah.
those experience actually fit into who you are, and not just saying, well, this is where I'm coming from, but see how it translates, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. My next question, you talked about you guys getting ready for hiring in quarter 2. When or where do we look for those type of opportunities? Is it just going to be through the PB&Jane site, or will you continue to have connections with Be Nimble? How is that going to work?
Absolutely. So this is a perfect, in looking at this, Be Nimble will get we'll find out about this before everyone else. So we'll have what I call internal posting is with folks like Be Nimble, right? So you're basically at the beginning of the chain. You're, because we're networking with each other now, right?
Right.
And I know Be Nimble very well. You know what I mean? Like this turns out to be one of these situations where your network, you know what I mean? You're much closer to me, the job creator, right?
Definitely.
Right. So yes, and then it'll also be out on LinkedIn and Indeed and on the website, all those traditional places, but making connections through Be Nimble, and obviously being at this event tonight, talking to me, definitely reach out, and in looking at the hiring process, you kind of see how that works, right?
Right.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions?
Hi, I have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Maya. Nice to meet you, and thank you for speaking with us for the past 2 days. My question is how you personally and at PB&Jane, how do you view both remote work and different learning and working styles of your team? And how does that kind of tie into collaboration amongst the team?
So I would say we've been doing remote work before remote work was even a thing. I think the team has always been distributed. So we have folks in Kingston, Jamaica, Georgetown, Guyana, people all over the place. Thailand. So we have people all over the place, and it's not really. We're actually thinking about this year. There's a guy that started Automatic. He's from Houston, Matt Mullenweg. But they do this at WordPress, where they meet up somewhere every year because their team is distributed. They've always been that way too. WordPress, the platform. I don't know if you guys use WordPress, but that team, they've always been distributed. And we're actually thinking about adopting some of their model and having everyone meet us in Jamaica. We haven't decided yet, but we're thinking that since the whole team is distributed, it'd be good to have a team meetup in Jamaica starting this year. So it's not hasn't been fully decided, but it's like 80% the idea, I think, to start doing that as a company, a link up kind of thing. Right? So long story short, love distributed teams, and people should be able to work whenever they want, right? It's just getting things done, right?
Awesome. I love that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And for real, you guys reach out to me on LinkedIn or through Be Nimble or whatever, and just I guess just be on the lookout. But you should get something from Be Nimble folks when these jobs are posted.
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely gonna continue, just because that's a priority. This year is really being able to, as we have more partnerships now and more people who are starting to get to the point of finishing these certificates, and some people who've already finished, we'll definitely announce when we have that. And I think a meeting in Jamaica sounds like
yeah. Yeah, we're up in the perks because it is it's a employees market out here, right? With the remote work situation, inflation, all sorts of things going on. There are it's tough to find people, but yeah, it's great. That's why I like meeting with you guys.
Monique wants to know in the chat, like, do you have a approximate time in Q2?
Yeah, start of Q2. Definitely the start of Q2. And I can also I was gonna say, be in touch with you, Mark and Kelly, and see what I can do to give more insight on when that's coming up, right?
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because I definitely want to go through the order of operations here properly. So yes, early Q2.
Yeah, we're going to be preparing for all of that. We're going to be working with a couple of other partners and companies, preparing, like, even with Qualify, they're going to have, like, for every, like, partner, we're going to be, like, having a portfolio, like video, their resume, everything. So we want that to be like a explore path, and then like an on ramp and off ramp for everybody who comes in. So ultimately, yeah, I think we will definitely be talking more about that. So feel free to schedule some time with me, and we can
okay, we can talk that through.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And so yeah, for everyone on the call, just really take your portfolio serious and show yourself in it. Just show who you are, and just be you, I guess. So if anyone has any other questions, just let me know. I think you have all my contact information.
Yeah, if we don't, if you guys have questions, please ask them. If not, we can, give you guys, time back. I love to do that. I know there's, if we're done and there aren't any more questions, we won't force. But I appreciate you guys that have asked questions, and if you have any questions about any of these other opportunities or anything else, to reach out to me, to reach out to Winnie. And like I said, I really appreciate you guys today. I'm glad you guys, hope you learned something and more. And I'm really excited about all the opportunities being presented for this community going forward. If you're nervous and want to ever talk again, like I know that I'll come to my office hours on Monday, and you want to sort through and talk through like your plan and how you're going to get, make use of all these different opportunities that we're putting out there in front of you, definitely do that. And I will see you guys soon in the future. The best of luck with everything.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hi, if you're still here, I have another question.
Yes.
No, thanks.
Mhm.
So my question, are there any, like in terms of like PB&Jane and you personally, are there any like working styles or personality types that you tend to work best with or that your team tends to work best with? So I guess also another way to word my question is like, what are specific qualities that you look for in candidates, like apart from the hard skill?
I'll just say honestly, passion. We have this quote that is like, when we think about how far we've come, it's passion got us here. And we find that people who just love the work, because sometimes it can be a lot, and you have deadlines and grumpy clients and then, just like things, but you always find that folks who are just passionate, always tend to be the best teammates, right? As a ex-soccer player, a footballer, we used to say the guys that like playing in the rain, that don't mind playing in the rain and lacing up their boots in the rain are your best teammates, right? It's just passion. It's just, getting over the conditions, I guess, to still play the game. So just passionate people who really love, helping others through technology, right? And that are just passionate about, design and UX and inclusivity and all those types of things, right? Does that help?
Awesome. Yeah, that makes so much sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed hearing you speak the past few days and hearing your perspective and just everything, especially with coming into tech in like the unconventional way through the boot camp, like all of us. I've been in tech for a little bit. I work in UX now, but I'm trying to transition to data. So it's always nice to see, especially other people of color who came in through the unconventional way, because I always feel like it just seems like that's just another extra hurdle that that's
another one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But no, you'll be fine. It sounds cheesy, but trust in the universe, follow the signs, you guys are a part of my network now, you know what I mean? So you just never know who you'll run into and people you'll meet. And, I'd say relationships just get everything done, good relationships, and people always see you for, who you are. It's a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. We're all just manifesting these new pathways for us, for sure.
Love those words.
Is it okay? Can I connect with you on LinkedIn as well?
Absolutely. I want you guys to. Absolutely. I'm the only Dorsh in the world, I'm pretty sure. So you're good there. It won't be someone else. It'll definitely be this big dreadlocks head and me.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much again for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking questions.
Have a good evening.
All right, you too.